Hey YouTube, this is Trains and Destinations, and today I'm going to give a quick overview of this laptop. So I have once again bought another laptop, however it is sold. So I bought this laptop about 2 weeks ago. I tried it out, didn't really care for it, and so it is sold. I'm about to ship it out, but I figured before I do that I should give you all a quick overview of the laptop. So this will not be a review. I didn't have this one long enough to do a review. It's also already reset, so I can't really show I can't show the Windows desktop or do any sort of testing on it, but I can at least show you the laptop, and that's what I want to do. So anyway, here is the laptop. This is yet again another HP, and specifically this here. This is an HP ProBook 450 G6. So for those of you who don't know, the HP ProBook line, this essentially is HP's business line of laptops. The ProBook specifically comes in a 400 series and a 600 series. The difference is that the 600 series laptops are more expensive, and they also come with docking ports, so you can connect them to a docking station. The 400 series ProBooks they're a bit simpler. And so they're basically essentially rugged, but still very professional looking laptops. So they are more rugged than your standard consumer line of HP laptops. So, so again, these things are relatively well built, and this one in particular is no exception. So as far as the build quality, it is excellent. So the whole top, the lid of the laptop is made out of aluminum. I believe the sides are also, actually no, the top is aluminum, the sides are made out of plastic, and so is the back, but it's a very nice feeling plastic. Like, this is some really nice high quality plastic, and there's almost no flex in this thing. So I'll open up the laptop really quickly, and as you can see, this is a 15.6-inch laptop. You have a full keyboard, so you have a full keyboard here, along with a number row over here to the right. And as you can see, it's a very nice design. It's a very somewhat plain, but still a very nice business-like design. But to show off how strong this is, I'm holding it by one corner. There's almost no flex in the chassis. Again, I'll do it from the other side. There's almost no flex in the chassis. This thing is just insanely well built. And you gotta love the way it looks. This thing just looks so premium. You have a little chrome ring, for example, around the trackpad, and as you can see, it is a pretty damn large trackpad. So it's a very pretty trackpad. The keyboard is also really good. It is, now this does compete with Lenovo ThinkPads, but it does not have a ThinkPad style keyboard. These chiclet keys, they don't go down very far. There's not much travel, but that being said, it's a really nice keyboard. So as I awkwardly type on this a little bit, like as you can see, the keyboard has a nice little click to it. The keys are nice and springy. There's not a lot of travel, but very good feedback. So I've typed a bit on this keyboard. This is a really nice keyboard, I gotta say. The only downside is that in general, I'm not a fan of this keyboard design because thanks to the number pad over to the right, the main keyboard is not centered, I'm not a fan of that. The main keyboard is not centered. And so as a result, you're kind of, when you're going to type on this thing, you have to basically, your body is essentially a little bit to the left of the laptop itself. So it's not as comfortable as it could be. I personally prefer 15-inch laptops that, they just has a center keyboard. But some people, especially in a business setting, they do like having the number pad. So it does make sense. So I will forgive it there. In terms of markings, I'm not sure if you can see it, but you do got the ProBook logo right there on the left. And over on the right, you have your Intel sticker, as well as your fingerprint reader, though for some reason on this laptop, it's not working. Now, as far as what's inside this laptop, I did get this thing fairly cheap. I think brand new, these run about $500–600. But this one was pretty cheap, in part because of the specs. So this has a Intel Core i3 8145U processor. I believe that's the base processor you can get in these. Along with that, it has 4 gigabytes of RAM and a 500 gigabyte hard drive. And primarily that's the reason why I'm getting rid of this. I thought I would be okay with the hard drive, but really it is slow. It takes roughly 15 to 20 seconds for this thing to start up. And it's not horribly slow. The processor does make up for it. But this hard drive really is a drag on this thing, I gotta say. The hard drive really is a drag. And, you know, my other two laptops, like the two main laptops I own, will pretty much own forever at this point. I'm not going to get rid of those. Both of those laptops have SSDs, and SSDs make such a huge difference. Startup times are quick, opening programs is quick, downloading is quick. And so honestly, it was my mistake for getting a laptop with a hard drive. But again, for some people, if you're older, if you're used to things that have hard drives, this won't be an issue. And for some business users, a hard drive might actually be preferable over an SSD. You can recover data from a hard drive a lot easier than an SSD. And, you know, this is a cheap way to get storage. This has 500 gigabytes of storage. A 500 gigabyte SSD costs way more money than a 500 gig hard drive. So, you know, if you need the storage but you don't have the money for an SSD, you know, this isn't a bad way to go. It really isn't. Now, also going to the fact that this is a base model, this does not have a backlit keyboard. I believe you can get this thing with up to a Core i7 processor, up to 16 gigs of RAM, I believe, and again, up to terabyte, probably up to a terabyte or so of SSD storage, and of course a backlit keyboard. But this one doesn't have it. It has this has the base specs. One thing though I really like about this and HP laptops in general is the speaker. As you can see, the speaker grill on this thing is massive. You can see the speaker grill goes across the entire laptop. It's a little hard to see, but basically this entire area, essentially from the top of the keyboard to the screen, this is all a speaker. This whole thing is the speaker. And trust me, this thing sounds phenomenal. Now, this doesn't have fancy Bang & Olufsen speakers like some other HP laptops have, but these speakers are loud, they are clear, they are awesome. And especially in a business laptop, you know, if you look at the Dell Latitudes or Lenovo ThinkPads, those don't have terrible speakers, but they're not that good. This speaker, it's excellent. They're front firing, it's huge, great. It's great sound. So, you know, if you ever decide that if you ever want to watch a movie on something like this, it'll be absolutely fantastic. Now, as far as the display goes, going to the sort of bargain-based nature of this particular one, the display, as I turn it on, this has a 1366 by 768 15.6 inch display. It's not the worst thing in the world. I've seen panels that are much worse than this. But again, it's a 15-inch display. It's not terrible. The color is decent. The viewing angles are decent. But again, though, it's not great. It's just not 1080p, so text is not going to be the best, as you can see. It's not the... you can see this is not the sharpest looking text. Again, for a business setting, it gets the job done, but it's not great. I will say, though, the brightness on this is really good. As you can see, like, this is how it looks all the way bright. So this is a very bright display. So the brightness on this guy is quite good, I will say. Now, let's go over the ports real quick. So on the left-hand side of the laptop, gotta bring this up a little bit. You have yourself a Kensington lock, a USB-A port, massive exhaust grill, I will say. I did game on this a little bit, and the gaming performance is pretty decent. If you're going to play older stuff or simpler stuff, like I played a lot of Counter-Strike Source on this laptop, it's really good. Like, I did a test on it, and I did the retest for the FPS rating, and I was able to get 120 frames per second. Doing the benchmark test for Counter-Strike Source. I know that's an old game, but still, for more of a base system like this, getting 120 FPS is really good. But anyway, you got this massive exhaust fan here, so even under load from doing some gaming, this thing never got hot. So I will say it's another advantage. And as far as other ports, you have an SD card here. This is your hard drive indicator light. And then if we go to the other side of the laptop, this is where the majority of your ports are. And so this includes your headphone jack, 2 more USB ports, HDMI, Ethernet, as well as your USB Type-C port and your barrel plug connector. And you can see on the bottom, these intake fans are massive. So this laptop is properly cooled. And, you know, that's a good thing. So if you're doing business intensive tasks or even more casual things, like if you ever decide to game on this thing, if you need a very basic gaming laptop, this actually will do you pretty nicely, especially if you can get it for a good price. You know, so overall, this isn't a bad laptop. It's just with the hard drive and with only 4 gigabytes of RAM, it does kind of limit what you can do in this thing. But that being said, though, it's not a bad laptop. It really isn't. If you can get this thing for a good price, like say under $350 or so, it'll make a decent laptop, and it should last a while. Again, the build quality on this is really good. I mean, there's almost no hinge wobble. Again, it's really well built. I showed you when I lifted this thing up with one hand, there was no flex in the deck. This is just a very, very sturdy laptop. And so, you know, overall, it's really good. I like it. Although it does depend, it does depend on what your use case is. As a business laptop, it is pretty good, but you know, I would say if you're going to buy one of these, if you're going to buy one of this specific set of specs, you know, if you get it for under $350, that's really good. But otherwise, I would recommend this laptop, but get it with higher specs. Get one of these with an SSD. With probably an i5 processor or higher, at least 8 gigs of RAM, and you're going to have a very sweet laptop. And if you can get this for a good deal, like I did, I won't say how much I paid for this, but I paid very little money for this, and I sold this for a profit to boot, then this laptop is totally worth it. So overall, that's the end of my overview for the HP ProBook 450 G6. And thank you everybody for watching.